Space Guard might stop us going the way of the dinosaurs. That's the biggest thing. And even a small asteroid or comet could wipe out a whole country. And so obviously some steps should be taken to see what is out there.
Millions of comets surround our solar system, and some sweep close to the Earth in their gigantic orbits. At the University of Glamorgan, they plan to keep their eyes on comets and asteroids. They'll be part of the Space Guard project, a global network monitoring near-Earth objects by telescope. They'll be watching for anything which could threaten our planet with a potentially disastrous impact.
One thinks of the one 250 million years ago, which wiped out 96% of life on the Earth, and the one 65 million years ago, which wiped out about 70% of life on Earth, including the dinosaurs. So these are major events, and these objects don't have to necessarily be very large. If they're over 0.5 kilometer in size, and there are many objects out there which are, then they certainly have the potential to cause a lot of damage.
Comets are, very strange creatures and capable of all sorts of things. In fact, we may be here thanks to the comet, which removed the opposition 60 million years or so ago and gave us little mammals a chance of taking over. So comets have played a major role in history and prehistory.
But as well as clearing the way for human evolution, comets could be the key to the discovery of extraterrestrial life, the subject of so many of Clarke's stories. Life may have hitched a ride on the tails of comets.
Sometimes they do cause destruction, but comets also brought life. They brought the oceans, and they brought the atmosphere, and without comets we would not be here on this planet.
What Wickramasinghe believes is that organic cosmic dust includes living bacteria. This is swept up by comets and multiplies in their molten cores, and bacteria from comets is constantly falling into our atmosphere. Throughout their long collaboration, Chandra Wickramasinghe and his colleague, the late Sir Fred Hoyle, faced a hostile reaction from much of the scientific establishment, especially when they suggested that living organisms from space, including germs and viruses, were brought to Earth by comets.
There was evidence, but the evidence was either ignored or devalued or essentially even distorted by people who thought that they had to maintain the status quo. In fact, there were very senior, very distinguished scientists who, in the 1980s, when we were finding organic molecules in space, we claimed that there were evidence for organic molecules in space. They simply said that organic molecules cannot survive in space, so Hoyle and Wickramasinghe had to be wrong.
The hostility has always been there for 25 years, but because their belief was so strong, despite the hostility, they pursued it.
And do you think that was right?
I think it's right to carry on believing in what you believe in and to pursue what you believe.
Science is supposed to go forward and progress from the idea of skepticism. So, the idea that you might put forward an alternate idea or an alternate concept contrary to the mainstream is one of the things that drives science forward, because you get a debate. Many people get the sort of wrong impression about science, that science is just about results, that science is somehow finished. It's a done deal in a sense. But Chandra is one of those people who challenges some of the mainstream ideas almost all the way throughout his career.
If you do not question the beliefs and the wisdom of your ancestors, you just don't make any progress. It's only through a continual process of challenging, questioning, reassessing the ideas of our parents and our grandparents that we do make progress.
Recently, he believes he and his colleagues have made the breakthrough which will finally prove that life from space is brought to Earth by comets. Using special sterile collecting equipment, samples were taken from high above the Earth's surface. The tubes were carried into the upper atmosphere by a balloon launched from India. They sucked in samples at a height of 41 kilometers, 25 miles.
There's no doubt that we found microorganisms at this height. They're not contaminants, they're not Earth contaminants, they're not from the laboratory, they're not from my skin, for example. They are from 41 kilometers. They're from space.
Dr. Wainwright has now grown the microorganisms. He believes he is the first person to have seen life forms from space which have reproduced on Earth.
Although most people might expect an amazing eureka moment, the first response is doubt. There must be something wrong, I've done something wrong. But eventually, as the data comes in, as the information comes in, you begin to realize that it is okay and that you can get excited about it.
It may not look like much, but this is what they're excited about. A bacillus from space. And this is what it looks like through the microscope.
It's the most exciting thing that any biologist could demonstrate that life exists in space. It opens up a total new frontier of biology. It means that microorganisms are out there. Where do they come from? What planets do microorganisms exist on? Where do they come from? The whole universe may be full of life. Imagine that.
A further sophisticated test later this year should finally establish whether the microorganisms the team have collected could only have come from space. That will be the moment of truth. What will that moment be like if you look and see, yes, it's from space?
That will be the most tremendous moment. It will be definitive proof that they exist in space, that they come from space. That will be excitement beyond belief, I think.
For Chandra Wickramasinghe, it will be vindication of 30 years of single-minded research in Wales. Victory in a battle in which he has often been a lone voice.
I can't claim to have understood all the details of what he's doing, but I do understand that he is onto something really big. At least that's what they think, and they believed in it. I mean, by them, Fred Hoyle and Chandra. And it's taken about 25 years of hard work, and it's not just a trivial pursuit of something. This is a passion. It's his life, actually.
It's been a long struggle to get people to accept and to see the facts. Facts that were so obvious to me, and yet that were ignored. But what has sustained me throughout nearly 20 years was that I felt that I was pursuing the path to a really profound truth.
As NASA has continued to probe the solar system, investigating our neighboring planets, the agency has concentrated more resources on the search for life and the science of astrobiology. Seeds sown by Hoyle and Wickramasinghe have taken root.
Any new idea goes through several stages. One is crazy, don't waste my time. Two, it's possible but it's not important. Three, I said it's true all along. And finally, I thought of it first.
What Chandra Wickramasinghe first thought of 30 years ago is now close to being proved. That life is everywhere in the cosmos. Science fiction is becoming science fact.
The whole story of science reveals that we're not unique. I mean, one time we thought this was the only planet. Well, that was slightly mistaken. We are part of an enormous chain of being, I'm sure. I can't believe that in this enormous universe of 100,000 millions galaxies and 100,000 million stars, whatever it is, millions and millions, that we are the only center of life.
The Earth was just an assembly point for the cosmic genes to get pieced together into a whole lot of creatures, including ourselves. And if that happened here on the Earth, it must have also happened on countless other planets around countless other stars. The implication is then that there must be creatures like ourselves walking on myriads of other planets in the cosmos.